Thank you so much, Natasha. And you are right. I know that normally for the Christmas season, and I'm saying we, including myself, we eat everything, almost everything that's in sight. And therefore, we just need to figure out how to balance ourselves off for 2022, come 2022. Of course, this is the last edition of Your Body and You for 2020, for 2021. And we just want to thank all of you who have participated, who have, gotten some much needed information, because that's what this is about. Just to help you to get knowledge and information about your body and how you can take care of yourselves. So let's welcome to the program Dr. Sonia Roache, who is Executive Director of Caribbean College of Family Physicians and an independent practitioner. Season's greetings to you, Dr. Roache, and thank you so much for joining us here on the program.
Season's greeting, Natalie. So nice to see you. Hi to everybody else. And you found out something about me that I didn't tell you about Caribbean College of Family Physicians. We're very proud about them because it's a new breed of family physicians that we've been training at UWI to come out as family doctors, the old-time country doctors, looking after everything from birth to death.
Right, and that's the thing. Family physicians are always so critical and important to us because, let's be honest, there are people out there who don't even know who a specialist is and wouldn't even know where to look. But those family physicians who can help us no matter what it is, or at least point us in the direction of more specialized care, are always there to take care of us. So we appreciate you.
Yes, indeed. We're trying to tell people, try to find a doctor that knows you, a doctor that makes their office your home, so you can come to them at any time for anything, because we are trained to look after everything. We are like the conductors in an orchestra, trying to tie everything together, and give you the kind of advice that you would need and talk to you like a friend. We want you to be part of the families. That's why we call ourselves family physicians. So you know the thing.
Right. So Doc, let us talk about this family, because we would have seen families struggle through the pandemic. We've lost the family members. But for those of us who are still here, we just want to get some tips on some of the healthy habits that we can, ring the new year in with. What are some of those things that we can do to just help safeguard ourselves, against anything untoward in 2022?
Well, I'll tell you the things we've been noticing. We're noticing a lot of stress. And I have to start with stress first of all. We've noticed tensions with people in the home together, tensions with children not behaving the way you want them to behave and getting on your nerves, and children not understanding why you're getting on their nerves. So the first thing I would talk about is stress, de-stressing everything, and realizing that in a sense, COVID has made us as families closer together. Instead of us warring with one another, learning how to be friends with one another, and learning how to meet each other more and get to know who the persons are that we are dealing with, from the little ones right up to the older ones. So stress, I think, is a thing that we have to talk about. And if you can't do it on your own, we suggest that you find a counselor to help you, because there are groups like Families in Action, for instance. There are all kinds of counselors and psychologists available if you need professional help. But as family doctors, we try to counsel as much as we can, because we've noticed a lot of stress, a lot of mental problems, a lot of anxieties and anger and violence, as you know. Indeed. So that's number one.
Can stress lead to bad eating habits, Doc? Because, I know some people say, when I'm stressed, I eat more. When I'm discontented, I eat certain things. Can stress lead to, eating disorders?
Because you can start to do what we call comfort eating. You eat something, you go and you eat something, you know that it's really bad for you. You know that you don't need it right now, but it makes you feel better, because it makes your brain put out these kind of chemicals that make you feel happy. So you eat more. So for instance, we eat chocolates, although chocolates aren't bad in themselves, but if you overeat, the trouble. And Christmas season, of course, we eat because we just love food. So that's one of the things we notice again too. The fact that people have put on a lot of weight in the COVID season, because being home, you snack more and you snack with the wrong things. We try to tell you, if you're snacking, try to not have the things available, but how do we tell people that? And then if you feel nice doing it, why not do it after all? So people
Yeah.
have put on a lot of weight and put on weight in the wrong places, like abdominal fat, for instance. And because the fact that they're not exercising. So you see, I've mentioned what three things already: stress, eating habits, lack of exercise, because we
Yeah.
have not been exercising. Even though we're told that the sun is good, we're told not to go out, we're told not to do this. And we see exercisers walking around the savannas that we have, not exercise like doing it around your house. So that's one of the things again. So one, stress. Two, diet. I'm not a dietitian, so I can't really tell you too much about that. But what we know is that if we eat plant foods more than the animal foods, as we get older, we have a better healthy eating habit. If we eat plants, whole plants like nuts and legumes and grains and things like salads and stuff like that, is healthier than eating a lot of animal fats. You know that.
True, but Doc, the industry doesn't make it easy for us to eat healthy because I like to snack and I like to snack on cashews. As you notice, I keep it very close to me when I have a break. I snack on some cashews, but the reality is that these things are a lot more expensive than things that would literally make us unhealthy, whether it's the animal fat, whether it's too much carbohydrates or starch. When you're talking about green leafy vegetables or when you're talking about legumes and nuts, they're a lot more expensive. So how do we, balance that where we can, have a little, try to maintain our health, but try not to kill ourselves with the same stress from not being able to afford it?
That's the trouble, and that's why I think we need help from the experts. We need help, for instance, from the people who produce food. But they have to live as well, because remember, if I am a farmer, I want to sell my produce not for pennies but for something to make a profit. We've been trying to encourage home gardening. If you have a little pot, put something in it, put a head of lettuce or something like that in there, because it doesn't have to be a big thing. Something that is very cheap, for instance, and very healthy is bhaji. But we forget that. And then we cook the bhaji, in such a way that we make it unhealthy as well, you see. So I can't answer that question at all,
Yeah.
because as we say, to eat healthy is to be spending money, but at the same time, you want to stay alive. So you have to try. But
But
there are
Doc,
things like,
how do you cook the bhaji to maintain its nutritional value?
but they're saying to steam it, not to put too much salt in it, and not to put too much oil in it. Still have the flavor. I would love to have the people who can cook, the people who really are the chefs and so, to come up with beautiful, healthy recipes for us. I put out that challenge. Why don't we try to get the people to have the recipes to help us to eat the food, to cook the food, to prepare the food in such a way that it's healthy, but still keep all nice flavors and everything in? Don't you think that would be nice
Yeah.
to have a
So
chef do it?
I definitely agree. So we can get some nice recipes. You talk about, trying to have a home garden. But what are some of the things we can do to reduce that stress? Because I know that the pandemic, as you say, we are in spaces with each other that we probably never even experienced before. And there's a lot of anxiety, depression, and stress. What are some of the things we can do to alleviate those?
Well, I am a Christian, so I go to prayer first of all. But Christians don't have the whole of, we are not the only people who know how to pray. We have found in research, for instance, medical research tells us that people who are spiritual or religious, that believe in something higher, that go deeper within themselves, come out better in the long run. So that's one thing we can do. We can start to think outside of the box, to stop thinking about ourselves, putting me first. Start thinking of the other person in your life, whether it's your significant other, whether it's your children, whether it's the older person. If we could try to do that. And I think prayer is very important, and meditation. And then, of course, the exercises like yoga and Tai Chi and all these Eastern exercises that help you to relax better, that sort of thing. And exercise, believe it or not, helps you to relax as well. Just exercise, going walking or running, jogging, or doing all the various exercises to strengthen your body, the stretches, dancing, things like that, reading, meditation, music, all that sort of thing, I think is helpful.
So there's a lot that we can do that's not very expensive. Breathing,
Not at all.
meditation, listening to music, exercising. having that home garden, and trying to eat right. So that's really 6 things that we can do to try to help ourselves.
Exactly.
But if we do that, Doc, where does the family physician comes in? If we take such good care of ourselves?
Well, the thing is, as a family physician, you go to at least once a year to check things for you to see if you're on the right track. Just to talk, to like a balance check, then, like when you're balancing your bank book, that sort of thing. You go to the family physician to see if any, because there are things that you might not be able to see or notice or experience, and then at least they know about you and can kind of tell you, okay, even to tell you you're on the right track is reassuring. I've seen the look on people's faces when you tell them you're doing good, and they feel so good about themselves. So that you have that lifeline, that person that you can talk to, that you can call up if something goes wrong. And then we do the measurements, you see. We have the numbers, the blood pressure checks for you, the cholesterol check for you to make sure your kidney function, your urine is all right, to make sure all your bodily functions are all right, to make sure all the systems are in place, no tumors growing, nothing happening. So we act like the check and balance and the kind of lifeline just in case something goes wrong that you can turn to say, that's my home, that's my medical home.
So it's important for all of us to have a family physician.
I think so. I've been told that I try to tell this story over and over, and people say, "Oh, she just wants something, what is she doing really?" But it has been my lifelong message to say that the family doctor is the source of. It's like the center of everything, because all of us get sick at some moment in time, and then who do you turn to? Turn to somebody who doesn't know you. So this is why, as I say, we've been doing this work with the young doctors, bringing out this young group of doctors into the health centers. For instance, we're trying to create a doctor in the health center that is like your friend, even though they move them around a lot. We have your private doctor, you have the options, because all these family doctors are found in private practice and in the public center. So,
and not only that, you're right. Imagine, when anything is happening to you, you need to have somebody who will be able to say, okay, this is what the patient's health looks like over the years. So you're right, to have that foundation that even if it needs to go beyond the family physician, there's some guiding light there in the family physician to say to the specialist or the hospital that, okay, this is who the patient is.
We give them the background, you see, and we keep everything. It's like this file on you and everything that's there. And we have the whole information package. So we, as I said, that's why I call us the conductor in the orchestra, because we have everything going. You see, we have everything going in sync. So it's good to have that kind of feeling. I keep pushing this message ad nauseum. It's good to have that feeling. Somebody that knows you, somebody that you can depend on.
For 2022, Doc, what advice would you give to each and every one of us out there who might be thinking that, okay, we had a rough 2020, 2021, we want to put ourselves in a better position health-wise? What advice would you give us?
I would say be hopeful, be very hopeful, because things are not as bad as we think. Even the Omicron variant is not as bad as we think. We won't go into that right now. But the point is that to everything that happens to us, there's always a left and a right. There's always a bad and a good. So there's always something good to come out of it. I'm saying go into 2022, hopefully, thankfully. Remember also, sleep is important too, because if you're not sleeping properly, you can't be healthy. So therefore, you're going to sit down and take inventory of yourself, of your family. Thank God or whoever you believe in for having life and for having some measure of health. Thank him for what went out before and what is going to come, because I have great hope. I'm an optimist, you see. I'm always an optimist. I have great hope for the future, and I think that whatever has happened to us in the past has been a lesson that we must learn from. That's what I would tell them. I am going into 2022 joyfully, thankfully, and with hope.
Right. Something you don't necessarily hear from your specialist, but you'll definitely hear from your family doctor. Be gracious. Gratitude is important, and hope.
And hope. That's for sure.
All right, Doc, we have to leave it there. Well, thank you so much for speaking with us this morning. And I hope for those that are listening, who are listening, they can understand that there are so many things that they can do that won't cost them a lot of money, that can help them to de-stress, and to help them through the time. And of course, visit that family physician. Get that
To
checkup.
Natalie. And all the best to you and to everybody. And you look so beautiful all the
Thank you
time.
so much,
I love
Doc.
that smile. I love that smile.
Thank you so much. Dr.
Oh,
Sonia Roache talking to us, of course, Executive Director of the Caribbean College of Family Physicians. And she's saying there's so much we can do to just help ourselves. You can listen to some music, it helps you to de-stress, plant a family garden, eat better, of course, exercise, and so much more. And visit that family physician who will be that conductor for the orchestra, who's the bass, who knows you and knows you intimately and can help you along the way to ensure that you're on the right path. We take a break and we'll be back with more.
I know.